Blended Podcasts. Brought to you by Blended Audio.
Exploring the unexplained,
breaking down barriers,
putting the macabre under the microscope,
dissecting the disturbing,
seeking out the sinister,
bringing you the jinkies and the jump scares. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 11 of Freaky Fridays.
Welcome, welcome.
Today we are talking about... Okay, wait, I have to preface this by saying we came up with a really cool title for this that I'm extremely proud of. Today we are talking about the unnatural natural.
Best way we could word it for a very confusing topic, I guess.
Yeah, I do feel like it was a little anticlimactic though. It's like, this is the most awesome thing we've come up with in forever. Say it out loud.
No, I like it.
It's alright.
We're discussing our weird and wonderful world, and I think that appropriately introduces it. So. Yeah,
some of the natural things that have happened in the world that have some unnatural occurrences going on.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be talking about a place that has intrigued me ever since I heard about it, and that's the Hoia Baciu forest in Romania. And I think Romania in general is just an extremely interesting place.
Yeah, there's a lot linked to that.
There's a lot of history.
There really is.
It's a place with a very rich history and a very sort of creepy history. I mean, it's the home of Dracula.
Count Dracula.
Yeah, or Vlad Tepes or Vlad the Impaler. The guy's got a lot of names.
He does.
Also, I have to preface again, probably butchering a lot of names and a lot of words.
But we'll do our best.
Yeah. I'm just going with Hoia Baciu forest, Vlad Tepes. I don't know if it's right. You get what I'm saying though, so it's fine. But yeah, the Hoia Baciu forest has intrigued me ever since I found out about it. It actually got its name from a shepherd, I believe, who, along with like 200 of his sheep, walked into the forest, disappeared without a trace.
That's a little unusual.
Just a tad.
Just 200 sheep gone?
Yeah, so apparently they just... I don't know where the name comes from. I don't know if it's his name, but he went into the forest with 200 sheep, disappeared, people searched for him, and couldn't even find a trace that he'd been there.
No, that is a bit odd. You shouldn't... that vast number of species just disappear.
Yeah, so I mean that's already crazy. And then another story of a disappearance in that forest that I sort of think maybe started the rumors of the strange phenomena that goes on there is that a young girl, I'm not sure how old she was, but she was young, went off into the forest one day. Her family lived sort of on the edge of the forest. She walked off into the forest one day and just disappeared, like our old shepherd with his sheep. But she disappeared and was gone for 5 years and reappeared 5 years later wearing the same dress, but could not remember anything of the time she spent in the Hoia Baciu forest.
Grief. What, did she emerge out of that same forest?
Yeah, emerged out of the forest 5 years later in the same clothing.
Okay, no wonder then stories should form about this place.
Yeah, and she had, well, as far as the stories go, she had no recollection of those 5 years.
I did not know that at all. That's actually seriously interesting.
But one of the things that stood out to me the most is people say that the phenomena that you experience in the Hoia Baciu forest, for the most part, is a lot of light anomalies.
I've heard that. I've heard the light anomalies are one of the main traits of the forest.
And I mean, when you say light anomalies, you immediately think like glowing white orbs and stuff. But the really weird part about it is that these orbs have different colors. So that people have seen white orbs, they've seen black orbs, they've seen red, pretty much every color under the sun.
Yeah, that's unusual. Normally, like you said, if any orbs ever appear, it's normally, I think, classified white ones.
White or sort of translucent.
Exactly.
And the light anomalies are, I think, the thing that intrigued me the most, because I heard about these, red light anomalies that they see, and it reminded me of an experience that I had. Yeah, so I can't remember when it was. I was probably about 16, 17, and I went on a trip with a friend of mine and her family where we did like an 18-kilometer canoe trip into the middle of nowhere, and we stayed overnight in this cabin in the middle of the woods, no lights. And my friend and I are both huge arachnophobes, and this cabin was covered in spiders. Okay. So we we both decided we were not sleeping in there. It was not happening. We were like, we will sit around the fire until daybreak when we leave.
I would probably have joined you on that.
Yeah, so we went outside, sat around the fire, and, you know, at that point the fire was sort of dying. It was just embers. And we were sitting in chairs in the middle of this forest, pitch black, and we started seeing these red, tiny little red lights. Probably
Where,
about
around
one or
the
two.
Fire or out in the forest?
Out in the forest, but not super far from us, quite close. And one of them was coming from a bush. And we were like, okay, someone's recording us, or there's like a
Yeah.
hidden camera or something. So we went over to the bush, and obviously you don't want to go sticking your hand in random foliage in the middle of the
No.
forest at night. But, you know, it didn't disappear as we got close, and from what we could see, there was nothing in there. There wasn't like a light bug, what do you call them? Fireflies?
I was going to say, was that not maybe some kind of firefly or glowworm or something?
Yeah, so we didn't see anything like that, and I've seen fireflies and glowworms before myself, and they're sort of like orangey or yellowy. This was a bright red light.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, so that's the thing. This happened to us way before I knew anything about the Hoia Baciu forest.
That was here in South Africa.
That was here in South Africa. So the minute I heard about these occurrences in the Hoia Baciu forest, I was like, wow, I've had an experience like that. So, I mean, there's no explanation for them, but that's, like I said, one of the main occurrences in the forest.
What's interesting is it's not just showing up on pictures, people are just witnessing these with their own eyes live.
Yeah, I mean, some people claim to have even been like attacked by these balls of energy or whatever they are. But another really interesting thing about this forest is that I'm not sure how big the forest itself is, but right in the center of it, there is a sort of circular patch that goes for about 1 kilometer where trees do not grow. They've never grown there, and they can't figure out why. And a lot of people theorize that it's like a...
Crop circle kind of thing.
Maybe not the theories that I came across is people say it's almost like a portal
Oh.
where the spirits can come through.
Good grief.
Yeah. So there are a lot of theories as to what it could be. But you said crop circles. A lot of people have said there's UFO activity in the Hoia Baciu forest as well.
Forest has everything.
Yeah. And I mean, you can go on tours of this forest, so obviously...
Don't know if I would.
No, this appeals to me because there's so much mystery around it. There's nothing that they can sort of explain away about this place, you know?
What, do you walk through this in the night, or is this tour during the day? That would be my defining factor.
I'm going to presume it's during the day. But I think it's open to the public, so you could go through at night if you wanted to.
And these things that people experience here, I don't know, I immediately pictured they were at night if you saw light anomalies, but I don't know, do things occur during the day as well?
I believe some people have seen stuff during the day.
Okay.
And people have caught stuff on camera as well, these anomalies. I know the first time I heard of it was in an episode of Ghost Adventures when they did, you know, they investigated all over Romania. And they went at night and actually caught these red light anomalies.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's sort of what piqued my interest.
I'm really fascinated with what that is.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said in the beginning, you know, Romania is so full of history.
It really is. There's a lot, just even like paranormally.
So this is just like a very small part of it, but I find it extremely intriguing.
Yeah. And like you said, you've had your own experience linking you to that, so...
Yeah. So, I mean, I would love to go there one day and experience it myself. But yeah, interestingly enough, because I know this leads into your topic, is that the Hoia Baciu forest is often referred to as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. Spoiler alert, that's what we're going into.
I actually didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that does. And as you said, that leads perfectly into the little urban legend that captured my attention the most in our weird and wonderful world, and that is the Bermuda Triangle. I guess the ocean in general freaks me out, considering it covers 70% of our planet, and we know so little about it.
I feel like, just digressing slightly, we have to talk about your immense fear of the megalodon.
Hey, you don't know what's out there. We 70% of the Earth. Keep that in mind. We know more of space than we do of Earth. The megalodon could definitely be there.
No, I'm with you there. I find the ocean beautiful but terrifying as well, and the Bermuda Triangle is extremely interesting, so I'm keen to hear what you've unearthed.
Well, there's a lot of different urban legends around the ocean that have captured my attention through the years, but I think the Bermuda Triangle has stuck with me from when I was a little kid through to now. And, I mean, to this day, people do not have a set, solid explanation of what happens around that area. For those of you who don't know, the Bermuda Triangle, it's also called either the Devil's Triangle or Hurricane Alley.
Okay.
It's a loosely defined region in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean.
That's something I wanted to know. Where is the Bermuda Triangle?
That's an interesting question because there are so many different opinions on that also, which leads a lot of skeptics to dismiss this whole story, is because that's why I say a loosely defined region, because there have been so many different claims and reports, each with their own variations of the location of the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, interesting. As you were.
But linked to this is a number of aircrafts and ships that have just completely disappeared and vanished under really mysterious circumstances. I think it's the region in general is one of the most heavily traveled shipping lanes in the world. And so obviously you have ships frequently crossing through it for the ports in America, Europe, and the Caribbean islands.
Okay.
And cruise ships, and you get pleasure crafts, and just all kind of different kinds of
Vehicles.
will pass through the region. So it is a really popular travel region, despite its...
It's a popular travel destination.
For some people, they last, actually for quite a few. And a lot of the disappearances that have occurred over the years have been linked to paranormal activity or, in some cases, extraterrestrial beings. And like I said, the percentage of incidents that have been reported are quite shocking, and also just the means in which they occurred. I think the earliest reported incident took place in the 1800s already.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that was the sinking of the Navy ship, the USS Pickering. The ship was named after the Secretary of State, Thomas Pickering, at the time. And it left Boston on the 10th of June. This is back in the 1800s, remember?
Yeah.
And it was meant to join the rest of the Navy in the West Indies. And it sailed from Newcastle, Delaware, and was just never seen or heard from again. I mean, I'm guessing back then, especially with the lack of technology and knowledge we have today, missing ships, I don't know, for me that maybe wasn't irregular.
Yeah.
I'm sure that happened quite frequently.
It was easier for it to happen back then.
Exactly. And the ship was believed to have gotten lost in a gale wind storm. And then slowly, as the years went by, more and more incidents began occurring there that people took note. This area in specific is becoming a little
dodgy.
famous for the wrong reasons. And so there have been... So some of the reasons behind the Bermuda Triangle disappearances, and there are so many, ranging from paranormal to natural explanations. I think one of my favorites is the leftover technology of the mythical city and now lost continent of Atlantis.
Ooh, that's a favorite of yours.
It really is. I love Atlantis, and I didn't even know that was a theory.
Neither did I, actually.
And I don't know if you know, just with the theory of Atlantis and the power of their crystals, which was said to be able to power technology that we today still don't even have the likes of.
Oh, wow.
And they were saying that was what was causing all the anomalies. It was the power from those crystals under the sea in that area causing that all these disappearances.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's other theories of flying objects and aliens. I think, like I said, I don't know if we will actually ever have an answer to what happens in this area. There were, I think, pilots. One of the most famous disappearances was a Flight 19, which was a squadron of US Navy bombers where 5 of them, not just 5, went out on an expedition and became disoriented while flying over the area and were never found. All 5 went missing.
Oh, wow.
And I think even the rescue plane that went in after that with a crew of 13 members looking for the squadron also disappeared.
Oh, wow. That is insane.
Yeah.
So creepy.
And funny enough, there are stories that when Christopher Columbus, way back in the day, when he sailed through the area on his first voyage to the New World, as they called it, he reported a great flame of fire, which I'm guessing they sent to take as a meteor, crashed into the sea one night, and then a strange light appeared in the distance a few weeks later.
What?
So the stories date back to like way in the beginning, from first passages across the ocean.
That is crazy.
And what he also noted, and to this day is noted, is that when you cross the area is the erratic compass readings.
I was actually going to ask about that.
Everybody who passes through the area always talk about how their compass readings will go absolutely haywire.
Like there's some kind of weird electromagnetic pull.
Exactly, which has spanned into one of the theories that something's not right with the electromagnetic field in that area, and people on ships and airplanes become lost and disorientated, which leads to all just their disappearances, maybe running out of fuel, maybe just getting completely turned around. So yeah.
Well, I mean, if you if you go into like the paranormal investigation side of things as well, any sort of electromagnetic fluctuation can make you feel disorientated, nauseous,
Exactly.
ill. You know, so it makes sense.
It does. It definitely does. But there's been so many weird reports from this area, from a flight leader reporting back saying we're entering whitewater, but nothing seems to be right, and then saying we don't know where we are. The water is green. No, it's white. So, and you have, I mean, these are trained, proper flight leaders. You know, it's not just any of these people have been trained through to withstand dire situations or complications. So, yeah, I found that interesting.
I don't know why that story specifically like gave me goosebumps.
Other theories go around portals. They say, with people saying there's a rift in the space-time fabric of the universe that would like open up in this particular patch, and extraterrestrials would obviously come through and abduct the passing ships or planes. Like I said, there are so many. Others would say, going to your more natural causes, maybe just rogue tidal waves. Or mysterious geometric anomalies that create navigational problems. I don't know if we are actually ever going to get an answer on this. I know some people have suggested that there are these huge methane pockets. Scientists have groped at every possible explanation, saying these methane pockets are causing not enough buoyancy in the ocean for the ships to pass through on. And yet, throughout the world, that has never actually occurred.
Yeah, but then also, how would you explain planes and stuff?
Exactly that. So that's what I'm saying. Each theory that has come up has its counter-argument.
Yeah, there are holes in every theory.
Exactly, and they haven't been able to find one solid theory that has encompassed sort of all possible loops in the scenario. But there's others like the Gulf Streams, maybe a bit too strong, but then again, you talk about the planes.
Yeah.
One that maybe does cover it all is the weather. And as you noted in the beginning, it's called Hurricane Alley, suggesting a lot of hurricanes take place in this area. But why is that specific to this piece of the ocean and not everywhere else as well?
Well, actually, going back to something, I feel like I'm going to sound dumb saying this, but I found it really interesting. A couple weeks ago when we were having really intense rains and stuff, a colleague of mine was actually, he had some website that shows where all the storms are hitting all over the world and stuff and what the weather's like. And I was so intrigued to see how many of these really intense storms are just taking place in the middle of the ocean. Like really intense, like
Did you happen to find out what area of the ocean?
I mean, it was all measured almost like thermal imaging, where it was, if it was red, it meant like intense rain and wind, and there were just these little blips all over the map of the world. And I was like, that's insane that in the middle of the ocean, there's this devastating storm going on.
No, that happens often. Like storms that you can't imagine, with waves that reach heights that would absolutely demolish cities.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but to me, it was just like so...
It is a very funny concept.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite stories around the Bermuda Triangle was an incident with the largest loss of life. And I think it was a ship called the USS Cyclops carrying a full load of manganese ore, and with a crew of 309, and the entire thing went missing. 309 people just gone.
Wow.
And I mean, up until recently, we've had flights just completely disappear, full of people. Also set out for trips over the ocean and have completely no sign of any explanation at all.
Well, there was a flight, not recently, probably a couple of years ago. Was it a Malaysian flight?
Yes, exactly.
I think they eventually found parts of it.
Exactly.
But
yes.
I remember at the time people were saying, maybe it flew into the Bermuda Triangle.
I think for years to come, this is still going to be a very big question on everybody's mind.
It's so intriguing to me. And what was very interesting is that there are a lot of parallels between the Bermuda Triangle and the Hoia Baciu forests, like talking about, portals or these things to other dimensions.
Well, like I said, it's a weird and wonderful world. As much as we know about it, there is a ton we don't, and there's a lot that occur. There's a lot of areas or just designations natural. They're naturally there, but the things that happen around it, or just there being in entirety, like the East Island stones, nobody has actually explanations for.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like we very often, pick these topics to talk about, and there's actually so much that you could cover. There are so many different things, and we sort of just have to pick two that really interest us and go with that. But there are so many other ones out there.
There really are. And yeah, like you said, just choosing one or two at a time is a bit frustrating, but maybe we can get there.
No, I mean, there's always future episodes to cover that stuff. But like I said, for me, the Hoia Baciu forest has a very personal interest of mine, because I've had an experience similar to the things that go on there. And I mean, just for me, the Bermuda Triangle has always been like
It has for me as well. Ever since I was a kid, I mean, my parents would tell me stories about the Bermuda Triangle. And I mean, dating back to Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know about that, actually.
Stories leading from then to today. I mean, last year a flight went missing over that exact area. Also a ton of people on it, and there's no sign. So I'm really curious as to what it is that's causing it.
It's like something out of the Twilight Zone. It really is.
It makes me nervous. Like, something like this really would affect my choice of getting on a flight going over an area like that.
Well, that's why I asked, where exactly is the Bermuda Triangle? So I can plan my vacations around that. But yeah, like I said, there are so many other really bizarre naturally or unnaturally natural things to investigate for yourselves out there. So I strongly recommend going out and doing your own research into these things that interest you. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about random paranormal occurrences on the road.
And there are plenty of those out there.
Yeah, so make sure you guys are with us next week as we explore that. Freaky Fridays, hosted by Devin Beatty
and Megan Portnoy, and produced with the generous assistance of Janu Blau
and Blended Podcasts. Brought to you by Blended Audio.